Oh, we're doing the silence thing again. We're back.
I like how much you panic when I don't say anything.
It's because, like, with past experiences, I genuinely think you've just gone. Like, just... Actually, occasionally, our internet drops out.
Oh, right, I thought you meant, like, I just got up from my seat. It's like, do you know what? Fuck this, I'm off.
Yeah, like, it could happen. Like, it could cut out at that moment. I'm just like, if I just wait, he'll say something.
I don't think you're the one that can be slinging about accusations of walking out and internet cutting out and that sort of thing when the last episode we did, that very thing happened. Well, not quite internet, but you had a technical error. You're never forgetting this, by the way.
Oh, it's fine. Have you listened to it yet? Because it is great.
I haven't actually.
I think I did quite a good job of hiding it.
You masked it quite well. Because I seem to remember the first time we did it, a lot of really unprofessional shit happened anyway, and we were like, we'll edit it out. And it was fucking no.
See, I thought about leaving that in, but I didn't. It's gone
good.
now.
Okay.
The first bit of it's there because you just go, we're experiencing some technical difficulties, and it just like a hard cut to what we recorded.
Everything's fine. Okay, so for this episode, as the title gives away of this episode, we're doing Ass Cards and that the 24 sequel.
That sounds like I mean, like, it could have been a plot to 24, couldn't it?
Yeah, like if he's just holed up and suddenly Jack Bauer is the president, that'd be amazing.
I guess we should go in first on Designated Survivor.
Alright, go on then. Well, because I asked this question to myself, and I didn't know. So, what is a designated survivor?
Luckily, you're not the only person that asks. Kiefer Sutherland's character literally asks, like, what's a designated survivor? Turns out it's just some guy who is chosen to survive in the event of, like, a massive attack. Like, when it's American politics, so I don't fully understand. Because I'm just like, yeah, I guess.
So,
But, like, they have their big meeting thing where everyone important is, and they just go, you. Go sit in a different room in a different building, just in case someone kills us all.
and then guess what?
See, when they started explaining, I thought, it's just going to be this bloke sitting there going, I wish I was important enough to be in all of these meetings. That's not what happens. There's a terrorist attack. And everybody gets killed. Yeah, probably, I guess.
Is it?
I think
it might not be.
Yeah, because they start finding shit at the end, don't they?
So this designated survivor thing, is there constantly some guy just being paid to live where the president isn't, like all the time, or is it only in like special events?
Yeah, I think it's where you've got most of the big important people. So, like, the obvious line of succession for who is president. So if you had, like, president, vice president, all of those people are somewhere, then you just go, maybe one of you should not be here, just in case.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's probably because that happened at some point in history, and they just went, fuck.
That's what happened when I read that. I was like, so I guess that must have happened for them to think, do you know what we need? I'm also going to start using it as excuses of not going to social occasions. Just going, guys, I'd love to come to your party, but if there's a bomb and you all die, you're going to need a designated survivor. So I'm happy to take that risk.
That's good. What if it's just like us two meeting? Is that going to be... You're just going to be like, no, I can't come. Just in case you get killed.
Well, actually, you live in London. That's a quite high possibility.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, maybe. I'm definitely going to start using that as an excuse. Like, Joe...
Just to not go to family events.
We've got some work and he's doing overtime. Are you willing to work Saturday? Guys, I'd love to, but... designated survivor. Someone's got to live.
The grass is gonna need cut, regardless.
But Okay, so basically, it's the State of the Union address, isn't it? And
And he's already really unhappy with, like, because stuff's getting cut from his speech. No, stuff that he wrote is getting cut from the president's speech,
yeah,
I think. And then so he's all like, "Oh, why don't you want to talk about my thing?" And then they're just like, "You're fired." They fire him. I forgot they fired him.
they do. Yeah, they offered him the position of ambassador to the International Civil Aviation Organization. And I know nothing about politics, even less about American politics. But even I can tell that is a bullshit job.
Yeah. And then, so, he pretty much goes home, tells his wife, "I've sort of been fired, but I still have this, like, one thing to do before I lose my job." And that one thing is to go sit in a room somewhere and not be killed. As jobs go, that's not a bad one.
I'd take it. I think. I mean,
Yeah, just sort of like, I'm quite good at this not getting killed thing.
I assume it is explained to him that, like, right, by taking on this responsibility, should anything happen, you are then the president of the United States. So it's kind of like that's quite a big gamble if it's a thing you don't really want to do. So I because
But then I suppose, like, the flip side of it is, like, it's a precaution that probably he expects to not happen. So he's like, "Yeah, right, I'll just sit, chill out in some room with my wife. What could go wrong?" And
Yeah.
then, boom.
I guess
everything.
we wouldn't have a show if that was the case. But that was the thing, because I was properly stressed watching this, because that's my sort of that's a bit of a nightmare for me. If the sudden responsibility for something that you don't know anything about, it properly freaks me out. And I text you while I was watching it, like, I sent you a picture showing I was watching it, saying I would be stress puking everywhere.
Like, a couple of things later, he's doing
him
that.
throwing up.
I think that scene's one of my favourites because it has him and the speechwriter, and the speechwriter is just slaying him, like, properly just going hard on just, like, how shit he is. And then they walk out of the queue and he just goes, "Oh fuck, sorry, Mr. President."
But I thought, like, that's something that I had to sort of think was something I had to rationalise and realise, oh, actually, no, it's not this, it's this. Is the fact that once he's told he's the president, they then take him and they get him sworn in. The camera movements and everything, it's all sort of slowed down and everything sort of stepped back a little bit, and it's like he can't believe what's going on. But at the same time, it's almost suggests, well, the way I read it is that he actually really doesn't want this position. But then it takes him like 20 minutes. Obviously, that's not like time.
Real time.
Yeah. But it takes him 20 minutes of the show to go, do you know what, I am the person to do this. And I was like, I'm not sure I believe that. But then thinking further about it, I was like, well, he was in the world of politics anyway. He probably had aspirations of getting higher in his job. And suddenly, yeah, it's in the aftermath of this terrorist attack, but he suddenly got to the position of ultimate power. So perhaps he's just going, do you know what, I'm fucking stepping up to this, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Do you know who that reminds me of? Fucking Ned Stark, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's his season 1 arc.
Absolutely.
Because Ned doesn't want to be hand. He doesn't deny Robert to be hand. And then he's just like, shit, I can do this. And then he's just like a generally all-round good guy who doesn't want to kill things or people. I mean, specifically people.
Yeah.
And then he has the whole, do we go to war with Iran thing? And he's all like, no, let's maybe not do that.
God, I'd forgotten about that. I only watched it last night.
I think, actually, no, it wasn't Iran, was it? Was it Iran?
No, yeah, it is Iran, yeah.
Because they're, like, moving to, like, block the oil?
Yeah, the Iranian Navy's moving to the Strait of Hormuz. But anyway, yeah. And did you realise the guy who plays that general is Mr. Gibbs from Pirates of the Caribbean?
No.
I'm pretty
Didn't
sure
fuck
it is.
that.
I'm pretty sure it is. Like, it looked like him. I could be completely wrong. But no, I thought that, because you texted me that last night as well, like, he really reminds me of Ned Stark. And I thought that is absolutely spot on, and it's a comparison I don't think I'd have made in a million years.
See, I have the advantage if I watch this in the middle of watching season 1 of Game of Thrones. I was like, watched like half of season 1, then just went, oh, I need to watch that show. And then I watched it and I was like, I'm seeing some parallels here. Save that for the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I take issue with just before he goes on telly, because that ending is one of the best endings to a TV show I've ever seen, or any piece of fiction, for this particular episode, because so they're scrambling around, they're all trying to get some organisation. You see a little bit of the investigation of the terrorist attack, which at this point I'm not that bothered by. I'd rather just focus on him, on we haven't said his name, have we? Tom Kirkman, on his sort of arc. But the part where it all builds up and it ends dead on the second, he says, "My fellow Americans," so he's about to address his public after this attack. But I do take it, and I thought that was a perfect ending for this episode, but I do take issue with the dude coming up to him saying, mate, you can't wear those glasses, they're unpresidential. I went, mate, they are presidential as fuck, those glasses. Those are glasses that say, don't fucking worry, I'll sort this out, but we'll also kick them in the nuts.
I think the whole how he's dressed thing doesn't really matter, because he's sort of coming on to be like, hey guys, new president, I sort of did some housing stuff before, so now I'm in a big house, it's very white, I'm gonna help me. I just want to see the speech that the speechwriter who slated him has written for him.
Also, again, I struggled with the fact that it's that guy who was in Epic Movie, and he's done some other comedy stuff.
Yeah, well, he's done How I Met Your Mother.
Oh shit!
House.
I forgot he was in How I Met Your Mother. Christ, I completely forgot.
He just turns up and shit, and I'm just like, cool.
He was in it for a while. He was going out with Robin for a bit, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was her psychiatrist.
Yeah,
I think in that one.
That's the one. Yeah, like a therapist who falls in love with her, isn't it? That's exactly it.
Yeah. Like I quite like it when he turns up and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's you. But I think like his character's quite interesting, because he starts off like being like, oh, you're shit. But then he starts to like sort of stick up for him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then just sort of be like, you can do this. Yeah, he'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen? They've already killed everyone else. What choice do we have?
I know we were joking earlier that it was the sequel to 24, but there are points to it where I really did feel it was a bit too close to 24. Like when they're like, okay, what's happening to my kids? And I went, I know what's coming here. He goes, oh yeah, we've got your daughter. And he goes, what about my son? And he was like, yeah, he wanted the house. I was like, really? You're doing the disappearing teenager again?
The kid's found very quickly though.
Yeah, that.
Because then they have that nice scene where they're just like, oh, Dad's the boss now of like the country, or whatever they're talking about.
I think he's trying to reassure his sister and going like, yeah, no, it'll all be alright, I'm sure. The really interesting thing, and this would be like, to answer our going forward question. I think what the draw of this show for me at this point is the pilot completely sets up the premise of the show, like in ways that are better than most pilots we've watched. That was like, this is what the story's going to be about, here's an introduction to everything, but they do it in a really good way. The thing that really interests me now is that you can either have a really interesting story about how he, an everyman competently takes on the role of president, but equally interesting would be seeing, like, if he was completely shit at his job. It would be really interesting to see how that would play out as well. So at the minute we're sort of at this fork in the road that either way, I'd be really interested to see like, you know, bad decisions being made constantly or good ones being made constantly, but then equally good and bad, which I imagine is the way it would
I think
go.
it's probably going to be he's going to make a balance of decisions.
Yeah,
Because like, he's already shown that he makes quite affirmative and well thought out decisions.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh yeah, no, scramble the jets, but don't fucking blow up any boats.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go talk to this guy, and if he's a dick,
Then
we're going to blow him up. But we'll try it my way first, and then your way. And it's just like, this guy knows. He wouldn't have gone to Cersei and gone, did you fuck your brother? He'd have gone and told someone else.
I definitely feel that the general is going to be sort of the devil on his shoulder, and then there's going to be some other characters, or perhaps his wife, who are telling him to do other things, and it's, you know, that I feel he's going to have a lot of tension with that.
I think he's also his like assistant, the partner in like the housing stuff that they were doing. I think she's going to put pressure on him to just sort of slide through stuff about like housing, just like, you know, build more housing. Just like on the slide, while also dealing with all this massive fallout from a big attack. Just, oh yeah, no, we're going to have to rebuild the Capitol building and also a lot of houses all over the country. Like, what does that? Those two things aren't related, mate. But just get them through, get them past. But I'm curious to see where it goes. I only really care about his arc.
Yeah.
Don't care about his family.
That's.
I don't care about the investigation.
No, do you know what? That's really funny, because I was going to ask you about that, because I really didn't really care for any of those things. But then I guess to make it a bit more relatable, perhaps you have to have those parts, because otherwise you just get, he's sort of the opposite of Frank Underwood, because and I think the genius of picking these two shows to discuss them together is that one of them, you have a man who reluctantly accepts his destiny, and in the other one you have the complete opposite, which is a guy hounding down his chance to get any sort of
just clawing at any power he can get,
any sort of progression up the chain of command. And I think it's interesting, they're both about, you know, the American presidency and so, even though House of Cards based on a UK thing and some books, but
I mean, I told you I'm getting good at this pairing shit up thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that I'm going to try and articulate something that I know what I mean in my brain. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get the message across, but I think Designated Survivor looks like a cheaper show than House of Cards. House of Cards is very cinematic and still camera and that sort of thing. With Designated Survivor, you have the camera doing a lot more of the work of showing how he's feeling. Like I say, when his wife's going one way, he's going the other. When he's told he's president, the camera doesn't give you a chance to just look at a frame that's still, because it's jiggling about so much. And I felt that really helped sort of add to his disorientation and confusion. But then once he's standing in front of the camera and he's about to give his speech, it's like that's the first time the camera is still.
I think, doesn't that help? That would help the sense of like urgency almost, that even like
yeah, exactly.
the guys filming it are just like, I don't care, let's just get it done quickly. Not that that's what happened. I imagine that's not what happened.
No, but I think
it gives you that sense of urgency that like
we need to get something
can't
done
quite
now.
sit still.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd also be interesting to see what sort of time frame for this show is, because I wonder if it's going to be like, I mean, we joked about it, but I wonder if it is going to be the immediate aftermath. So like the next episode picks up from his speech and it's okay, now what do we do, and it progresses like that, or if it then jumps forward in time. So, okay, so the investigation is ongoing, we've got some other presidential duties for you to do while that's happening.
What I think it might do is you might get, because I know that episode 2 is called The First Day, So I think that one will just be a full day in one episode, which for a Kiefer Sutherland show is novel.
He's gonna be like, oh, not used to this.
Yeah, no, can't we just drag this out a little bit? And then I think it'll sort of ramp up as like he gets probably more comfortable and more confident in his decisions. So he makes larger decisions over like a couple of episodes. Whereas to start with, I think there'll be lots of really quick, small decisions. And then like there'll be one massive one at the end where he invades the rest of the world.
Do we know which? I mean, I'm assuming he's a Democrat, but do we know which political party he was part of? I assume it was Democrat because he didn't immediately go, yes, bomb Iran.
I mean, I think it almost doesn't matter. Because I think from whichever side of the house they sit, I don't know the difference.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, they're going to have the same choices to make. They probably make slightly different ones. But for the most part, they're going to act in a fairly similar way. If you're just sort of some backbencher, just like, oh, what, me? Fuck. Because that's sort of what it feels like to me. It's like some guy who is like MP of a hill in like the Peak District and has just gone, I'm sorry, what, you want me to run the country? Oh, no. You don't. What do you mean there's no one else? Oh, well, I guess.
I suppose,
But
yeah, it's...
I am curious to see where it goes. I think it's one of those that I'll probably just watch it until I get bored of it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it would be a good series. I'm not sure if it would sustain more than one. But
I think it's like a 24 episode season as well.
Is it really? Oh, I
Well, yeah,
can't be doing
Kiefer Sutherland. I am just guessing. I haven't actually looked.
I suppose we could do a bit of research. It is 21.
I mean, that's a fairly long season if you're not invested enough. So I imagine you only find out at the end how all these things tie up.
Yeah, I guess.
And I don't want to wait that long. I sort of want them to tie up like halfway through so I can be like, so that's who did the attack. And if it's an interesting thing, and then I can watch the rest of it and be like, cool. This is how you're dealing, like, because you know how normally you do that in a season? You find, like, something gets set up in, like, the first few episodes, and it takes you, like, 20 episodes to deal with it. I sort of want them to, like, get halfway there in the middle and sort of go, right, we know who did the attack, but now we need to find out where they are, and then just ramp that up and have, like, almost like 2 seasons, but in 1 season. So you have the whole, like, finding out who did it, and then exacting revenge of some description.
Or at least seeking justice, if not revenge.
Yeah, are you convinced that it's like an inside job?
Well, I'm not sure, because I guess it would be a bit more cliche if it was, but then, yeah, it'd probably be a bit easier to just deal with if it was just one terrorist attack and it's all, okay, it was terrorists, and then that's all the explanation you get. The premise of the show is almost strong enough to not have to have like a big conspiracy or inside job or whatever. But
what if it was both? An inside job, but an inside job by a guy who's also a terrorist.
oh god, do you want to get this podcast shut down with talk like that?
No, actually, I don't.
I definitely don't think that's the case, and I doubt that will ever happen.
No, apparently it's a genuine thing that happens on YouTube now. Like, if you talk about things that you shouldn't talk about, they go, no.
Do they, or is that just the creators of those conspiracy videos going, oh yeah, my video got taken down, I guess I was onto something? Does that not strengthen your argument? Or could you not?
Oh no, apparently it's like the whole like sensitive topics thing. It's actually nothing to do with like conspiracy theories.
Oh, what, like hates, like ISIS
Yeah,
recruitment videos?
that sort of shit.
There's a great bit, and I'm gonna get a plug for this show on every episode we do. In Love, there's a scene where it's honestly, have you watched it yet?
No.
Right, shut the fuck up then. There's a character who I think has just broken up with a girl, and someone comes up to him and is like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? How are you coping with your breakup? Have you spoken to her since?" And he said, "Yeah, I've had a couple of, passive aggressive texts and sarcastic comments, and she sent me a link to an ISIS video, so."
What? Okay, that does sound good. I would watch that.
You need to watch Love, and Zara, so do you. Because I'm still assuming that A, you are listening, and B, no one fucking else is.
So, you gonna watch Designated Survivor more, or nah?
I'd like to. Like, it's definitely gripped me a lot more than a lot of the other shows we've done, because some of them we've just been like, it's just, it's by the numbers TV episode, and. But this one, I'm actually thinking, do you know what? I care enough about him. I don't know what it is about Kiefer Sutherland. I really like him, but there's something about just the situation and those glasses. I genuinely just want to see more of those glasses too. But yeah,
as a reason to watch a show, I've never heard Glasses before, but I like it.
Yeah, are you gonna?
I'll probably watch some, but not too much.
It's one of those rare things where, like, you actually haven't seen any.
I know.
Any more than I have.
It's kind of distressing. I almost watched the second episode.
Oh, I would have done had I not, like, needed to sleep. But I really needed to sleep.
Can't remember. I had something else to do afterwards. And I was just like, okay, cool. I'll just... Oh, no, because I watched it before we recorded the second half of the last episode.
Oh, yeah, because you're saying that it's really good. Speaking of really good... Oh, sorry. Speaking of really good TV shows about American presidents, American politics, what's the next one?
House of fucking Cards.
House of Cards, motherfucker. How have I not watched more of this?
I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. I never watched it because I was like, it's American politics. I'm not gonna follow it. And then, I mean, I was right. I don't follow the politics bit of it, but I follow the he's fucking rad bit.
He's
but like in that way that he's kind of a twat.
Yeah, absolutely. He starts House of Cards at the point where season 5 of Breaking Bad starts with Walter White, that you still kind of enjoy seeing him do disgusting shit, but he starts with it, and the first time you see him,
he murders a dog.
He kills a dog, man.
That's not normally the kind of thing I can get behind. But
I suppose he'd argue that the dog was wounded. I was putting him out of his misery, but he's so cold while he's doing it, and the fact that he's just talking to that is one thing about this show is I absolutely love that he just looks down the barrel of the camera and just talks down the camera.
I know. I love fourth wall stuff. Like, it's one of the things that I loved about Ferris Bueller, Deadpool, and actually weirdly Saved by the Bell, because it had some of it as well.
Saved by the Bell was shit.
Only because you didn't watch it when you were a kid.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You poor person.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm a lot younger than you. But I do. I like. Well, it's like anything really. I like fourth wall stuff when it's done well.
I think this show would be a lot harder to follow without it.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. But I think, if you don't get that fourth wall stuff right, it can get really annoying really quickly.
Yeah, because he's like, otherwise that would have been like 2 or 3 minutes of silence of him just strangling a dog.
And you're just going, okay, well, I guess that's.
And I just sort of be sat there going, I might not watch the rest of this.
But it's a perfect opening. Like, in that first scene where the dog's hit, he comes out, he tells the couple, go inside, we'll call someone, I'll try and get hold of the number. They go off, he walks off.
That's my favourite thing that they call back to right at the end of the episode.
Yeah, it's amazing. But then, so to them, he presents himself in one way, he goes over to the dog, he talks to us, goes, right, look, this is the real me, and he starts strangling the dog, and he says, moments like this require someone who will do the unpleasant thing, the necessary thing. And in that, you know everything you need to know about Frank Underwood.
Yeah, because he sends like
Just keep
his like guard guy to go and like get the neighbours while he's killing their dog, and then just turns around and just goes, "Your dog's been killed by a car," and it's like, mate, you're not a fucking transformer. You're not a car. Like I've seen you kill the dog.
Like, I did think that if they, I don't know how far you do post-mortems on animals, but if they did a post-mortem on the dog, they go, oh yeah, he had an ingrowing Vauxhall Corsa in his ribs, and his neck has been snapped by some fists. So, couple of questions.
Yeah, but like from there, and then I was just sort of like, so what do you do? And I was just like, oh yeah, politics. I understand, and I assumed he'd be higher up because I don't think he's that in like the chain of things. I don't think he's that high up the food chain.
Well, I guess he's the whip, isn't he? That's what they call it. And I didn't know what the whip was until literally about 10 seconds ago when I read this.
Please tell me.
Basically, it's the name given to an official of a political party whose task it is to ensure party discipline in a legislature. Whips are the party's enforcers. They invite their members of parliament to attend votings and vote according to the official party policy. Oh right, so basically it's just, yeah, like an enforcer, so someone who gets people to toe the line and everything, which you see him do, but
Yeah.
in a very manipulative fashion with Stamper was Peter Russo.
Oh, so he's basically Peter Capaldi from Thick of It.
Yes.
That sort of.
Well, he's Charles Dance from House of Cards. Because I think the
I
original
forget this.
was I think it was anyway. I might have got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Charles Dance who's in the original House of Cards.
I see.
Oh no.
Might have
No,
to
I'm wrong.
see if I can find. Oh, was it not?
It's not. Someone called Ian Richardson, apparently not. But on the Netflix logo that I see every now and then, he looks like Charles Dance.
Oh, I see. So that was almost our second nod to Game of Thrones
Nearly.
in one episode.
Or Ali G in the house.
Well, I mean, I'd rather reference Game of Thrones. If we can.
So anyway, we haven't really mentioned what the plot of House of Cards is. So Kevin Spacey is Frank Underwood, who's the whip.
We sort of did,
Did
because we would sort of like in the last one we mentioned.
He
Yeah,
got
no, he just
fucked
sort of
over.
wants to have more power.
Well, yeah, but we didn't say like the circumstances of it. So he's done a lot of work for this.
Oh, doesn't he sort of get sidelined as well?
Yeah, he gets completely shafted. So he's recommended to be Secretary of State, and then he.
Everyone says no.
The party, his president of his party, the head of his party gets in. He's now the president. He's thinking, great, I'm going up in the world, and they go, we've changed our mind because we want you to stay in Congress and get the education reform agenda passed. And he is fucked off, to say the least. So I think the rest of the show is him getting revenge.
Yeah, I imagine that's going to be a large theme of the show.
Yeah, definitely. But there's that great scene where like you see him go home, his wife goes up to bed, and he opens his window and he starts smoking. And then his wife comes down like hours later, and he's still stood there smoking. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've got a plan."
Yeah, I think. And also, I quite like the stuff with Zoe.
Yes.
Like the like, oh,
journalist.
I just want to write about politics, and they're all like, nah. And then she somehow,
gets in touch with.
yeah, she pretty much just sends him an email, just going like, remember that one time you looked at my ass? Well, you don't want us to print a story about that, do you? and then he ends up leaking like the first draft of the report that you see him half shred and then just.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh
jam.
cool. He's like oh he's shredding, and he's just like, oh no, it's just jammed the printer so he can give it to.
So you can look like they just threw
Basically WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that's clever. I like that. Because then she basically takes it to her boss and just goes, he's like, like really dismissive, like, I'm not going to write, like, print it. And she's just like, oh no, like, I've got all this, like, reference material. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I've already written it. And he's just like, well, fuck. Like, and then he, like, gets someone else who just dismissed her earlier to, like, you're helping her now. I've got a feeling that they're...
Sorry, go on.
I get a feeling they're going to have, like... She's going to have, like, a parallel story to Frank, but she's just starting at, like, an earlier point.
Yeah.
She's, like, season 1 Walter White, but he's already season 5.
That's the point I was about to make, is that you got the... She's trying to get up in her job, and he's trying to get to be president, I guess. That's the eventual goal.
I'm guessing that from the picture of him sitting on the big chair, I think that's his goal.
It's a Lincoln's chair, is it? Sorry, my nose is just blocked up.
Ah, is it your finger? Because if it is, just pull.
Yes.
Sorted. But I'm trying to think, because the thing about it is, like, a lot of these parts are quite long. So while it feels like not a lot has actually happened in the same amount of time in Designated Survivor.
Oh, you felt what? You thought the pacing was...
Well, I thought I like the pacing's good. I like the pacing. It's just that because they spend a lot of time on each scene. So you spend a larger portion of it with, like, so in, like, his office or at the I guess it's the inauguration,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So because you spend a bit more time at each of those, like, not as much happens, but
I mean,
there's still a lot of stuff that happens, but it just happens in, like, smaller places.
yeah, I suppose, well, House of Cards is longer per episode than Designated Survivor. The first one was like 42 minutes, I think.
I suppose, yeah. I always forget that, like, some TV shows are designed to have adverts in them.
What? Well, what House of Cards? Well, they're both on Netflix.
Well, I'm guessing if one of them was not meant to start on Netflix, like, it could have just been
possibly,
bought
yeah.
further down the process or something. I don't know. So they'd have written it to have ad breaks in it, but then just they didn't record the ad breaks.
Oh, that might make sense. I've completely forgot what I was about to say. That's annoying.
It's fine. I'll wait. Because I'm sort of running out of things that I remember about it. There's the drunk guy that gets arrested.
Yeah. So Peter Russo, he's the he's a congressman, and he's obviously cheating on his missus because he's in this car, gets pulled over for drink driving, and there's a prostitute in the car with him. But then you see the moment where he goes back to is it his girlfriend or his wife?
I guess it must be. Because doesn't she come... No, he... Frank goes and bails him out of prison.
Yeah, that's it. And that scene is incredible. Where he's like, "Oh, do you want a drink?" He goes, "Oh yeah, definitely." He goes, "What do you want?" He's, "Oh, here, have a whiskey." So he gives it to him, and then he goes, "You're not having one." And this is right after he's been bailed out, and he goes, "It's a little early in the morning for me." And that is what makes him go, "Oh shit, it was you that bailed me out." And he's going, No, I definitely don't need it. Definitely don't need it." I thought that really subtle, passive-aggressive manipulation of just, right.
I think it's just
No.
everyone. He manipulates everyone.
And although,
And, like, he's quite open about it to the viewer.
yeah, in reality, he would be a complete bastard. But for some reason, we really, really like bastards in our entertainment. Like, you think of the Hound. Everybody loves the Hound, but he has done horrible things. So's Walter
It's because
White.
he's the better of the Cleganes.
Well, he's-
The Mountain is way worse. And a zombie.
That's very true. But you get what I mean. Like, it's. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, it's strange. I mean, it might actually have been early this evening. Like, it's strange how the quieter but less sort of emotionally complex characters that we get in. I mean, so you like your Boba Fett and that sort of thing. He has got a massive cult following. Some people even get him tattooed on their arm.
Nutters.
Yeah.
All of them.
And
7 lines that man had.
I know
7 lines.
But why do we like them so much? It's is it the mystery of them, or there's some that they don't take bullshit or whatever, or you're waiting.
Oh, with Boba Fett, it's the armor.
Well, yeah,
Like nothing
there's
else. But I don't know. I guess it's just because he seems to be cut from like the same cloth as Sherlock in that he's like a functioning sociopath.
What, Frank?
Yeah, like he definitely is a sociopath. There is no. I can't really find a way to question it.
No, but what do you think? He's similar to Sherlock in the.
Apart from that, Sherlock's a good guy.
I was going to say, so apart from like the moral compass of it, you think?
I think no.
he's
I
similar
think
to Sherlock?
he's. Oh, definitely. They're very much like. They're quite in the fact that like they can just manipulate at that level.
But they're
And
still
also-
quite
and-
arrogant about it.
Yeah, although I think Frank's a little bit less showy off. Like he doesn't show off about it as much.
No, he'd very much sort of be shaking your hand and then stab you in the side with his other arm, or subtly lean round and slit your neck open.
Yeah.
Do you think? Okay, here's an interesting question. Do you think, having seen what we have of Frank so far, do you think he would be willing to commit murder?
As long as he didn't get his hands dirty personally, I think he would.
You think he'd manipulate?
I think
someone to kill,
he'd get someone else to do it.
even though he
either
strangles the dog at the
either-
start.
Yeah, I think either explicitly he would get someone to do it, or he would manipulate someone into doing it for him.
Yeah,
Because even though he would be unlikely to be caught, if he was, it wouldn't further his career to be a murderer.
so it wouldn't be worth the risk.
But there are probably people that he would like to die.
You'd think he'd arrange people's deaths, though.
I think. Yeah, he's like the hands-off Heisenberg.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just interesting that we've got, in Kirkman, it looks like we're going to have a character who's innately good, despite the fact they struggle massively with their job and everything. In Frank, he gives no fucks and he would not stop until he gets the result he wants.
Oh yeah, he'd be a Lannister for sure.
Definitely.
Because I think he, in the same way that Cersei does, it's just sort of like it's me above my family and my family above everything. So I think he would be quite likely to do anything to achieve his end goal. Because I'm pretty sure it's probably another one of those things where it's just like, I need a legacy. I need to leave something behind so that people remembers me.
Yeah. And I think if he manages to get to be president, that's quite a good legacy, I suppose, in his eyes. Although, what you said about family and things, it seems the only person he trusts is his wife, and we haven't mentioned her, but she is phenomenal. She backs him all the way. I guess she doesn't know about the dog or anything, but in his...
Oh yeah, I'm sure the dog would flip it, but she runs like a charity. Is it? No, which show is
Yeah,
that?
no, you're thinking of the right one. It is
thank God. Because I thought for a second that your silence meant, "You're not this show, you fucking idiot."
No, it is because
Oh, she said she's redirecting the.
yeah,
They're changing direction and like letting some people go.
yeah, like the wasn't it something like they're doing really well one day and then like the next day, she's like, no, we've got to get rid of people.
Yeah.
To get because they were going to donate to oh, that's it. Sorry, I was just reading what it was about. She's forced to downside it because the Clean Water Initiative, for which she worked, had been promised a large donation upon her husband's confirmation as secretary, and then he doesn't get to be Secretary of State. So then they're like, oh fuck, we're not going to get the money. Okay.
See, that's a bit of the story that I'm not that interested in.
What, her side of it?
Like, not like I like her involvement in Frank's bit,
Yeah.
but I don't really. And I suppose it might get interesting at some point, but
I don't know. I think she's going to be every bit as important to Frank's sort of quest as Frank is, because I feel like there's certain scenes where he's thinking of something and she goes, no, you can't do that because of this. Do this instead.
Is she
And he
like
completely
season 5
obeys.
Skylar?
Well, this is the thing. I don't know. Like, I think perhaps she might.
Or do you think she's a better person than Skylar? Because don't forget that everything that happened in Breaking Bad was her fault.
I don't think that. Oh, that's a really interesting question, actually. I guess the reason I'm struggling with it is because I think, yeah, they both do bad things, but with Skylar's involvement, it's a smaller scale.
It's very
thing.
late. It's also very late
Yeah.
on in the whole process of becoming a criminal.
Yeah, and with his wife, I think she knows what's going on, and she's as involved as Frank is from the start. So I think that's where the difficulty in comparing those two is on like, you know, who's morally more corrupt. But I think from the outset, if she is, then yeah, that probably answers the question. I think she's worse than Skylar.
I have a question. Do you think he will actually break the law at any point? Like, he can, at the moment, all we've seen him do is be quite underhanded and
Is it not?
maybe do a little bit of leaking documents,
Is it
which is only possibly treason.
So, well, there you go. But then, threatening and blackmailing Peter Russo. Is that's?
I don't know if he threatened him. He just made it obvious that he was the one that bailed him out, and is sort of.
I suppose. Well, he could argue his way out of that. I think. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, in terms of breaking the law, like in what terms, like fraud or like
Just
more sort of
blanket breaking any law.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it'd be interesting if he could, you know, have a defensible position of saying, "Well, I've not broken the law in doing these things." Yeah, you might not agree with
that's
them,
the way I want it to go. I want him to not break the law.
What, you want to obey the rules but still get around it?
Yeah, so I wanted him to bend the rules so that they're almost a circle, but never quite break them.
Yeah. No,
Because it'd be a much more interesting. I think it would also make the plot like not more intelligent, but it would make it feel smarter in a way to sort of go, oh yeah, look how manipulative he's been, and look how it's taken him like 7 episodes to get this one guy to do what he wants. And I want to imagine that this is all of a slower pace, but then it, like, the payoff at the end is like, you go, oh.
What, so you want it to be sort of like one episode, like this event leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, but all obeying a certain set of regulations and rules?
I want at the end for the tipping point in whatever his plan is to be that couple's dog that he murdered and sent out that guy after him. I want them, because they did a callback in the first episode. I want them to do a callback in episode 13 to be like, you remember that dog I killed at the beginning? Well, this is why I did it.
Do you remember that dog? Well, the trouble is, the dog's ghost has come back and is now haunting me.
Yeah. Or like it just turns out to be like the president's son that hit and run a dog, and then it turns up like, oh no, but because of this one thing, we did some research and we found out that car's been involved in like 9 hit and runs, and some of them have been people.
Oh, mate, that's incredible.
And that's how he gets the president like deposed from power.
That'd be great.
And then you just sort of go, yeah, but then that means the other 12 episodes are fucking meaningless. And that's how I want it to end.
All because of a dog.
This is why I don't write TV shows. Because it'd just be one thing happens right at the beginning of episode 1. Then like 9 seasons later, I just go, oh yeah, no, all of this, irrelevant. That one thing right at the beginning that you probably don't remember. That's all that mattered all the way through this.
What about Kevin Spacey then? Because if you want fucking... It's weird. Like... Have you seen American Beauty?
No.
Because I feel like the character he's playing, you could say it's a complete squish up of Lester Burnham, who's the character he plays in American Beauty, who sort of he goes to work, he does his stuff, he's a bit of a slob and that sort of thing. But if you smashed the personality of John Doe, who he plays in Seven, with that of Lester Burnham, you kind of get Frank Underwood.
So I think it's closer to the character, like a more extreme version of the character he plays in 21.
I've not seen 21. That's the one about the casino, yeah?
Yeah, because in that he basically manipulates people into doing... Because he was like a card counter, and then he starts teaching at a university, and he teaches very intelligent people how to count cards, and then sends them to Vegas to count cards for him.
That sounds like decent. Is it a good film?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I quite like the sound of that. That sounds alright.
It's good. It comes to London, we'll watch it.
Alright then. Alright, so...
I think I'm definitely going to watch season 1 of House of Cards.
Yeah, I think
and then see how I feel.
I'm with you there, but I've got a feeling, because my reaction to it was I loved it so much. I was so excited. But I had watched this before, but it was a long time ago and I didn't quite remember.
See, I've watched episode 1 before, and I think I wasn't in the right sort of mood to watch it. Because I think it's one of those things you sort of have to be willing to pay attention for. Yeah. You can't just throw it on and be like, yeah, no, I'll just get it. Because there's a lot of stuff that even I forgot about, and I watched it probably like 3 days ago.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Both shows have been absolutely fantastic. If I had to pick one,
House of Cards.
Yeah, I think I preferred House of Cards. Like, despite the fact that we're sort of going, oh, I'm struggling on things to say. There's there's a lot more positivity and hope in Designated Survivor, but in House of Cards, it's just fucking despair and dark shit and horrible things are probably going to happen. And I think, I don't know, I'm looking forward to that a lot. So yeah, I'm definitely going to carry on watching this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll definitely carry on with House of Cards, and I'll probably find some downtime to watch a few more episodes of Designated Survivor.
Yeah, like...
Because I think if Designated Survivor doesn't ramp up quite quickly, I'll get bored.
Yeah.
But with House of Cards, as long as it stays at this pace, I'll just be like, yep, yeah. I love this.
No, yeah, 2 very, very strong pilots.
See, and I was worried that both of us would have the thing of going, there's shows about American politics that we don't fully I don't really understand how American politics works, because they have, like we do, like multiple parties, but I've only ever heard of 2 of them.
Yeah,
that's I'm sure but they're all just grouped as the independents. It's like, well, we have some of those, but we also have like the Lib Dems, who no one gives a fuck about,
and Lord Buckethead.
Yeah, but yeah, I think they're good. I was surprised at how easily I followed it. I think it's because politics wasn't like the big.
It wasn't the crux of it. It was definitely a show that about the characters rather than you don't have to have an in-depth understanding at all.
Yeah, like in the same way as The Thick of It isn't about politics, but it's about the people who are doing the politics.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think I've run out of things to say about both of these shows.
Fair enough. Those are very, very strong contenders for, well, House of Cards at the minute. Oh, well, that's American Gods, though, isn't there? I'm thinking about my favourite ones that we've done this year. But House of Cards.
But I can see further on. I'm pretty sure there's some good ones in there.
Well, I know.
Well, I mean, episode 10 is probably a waste of time.
Well, half of it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a joke.
No,
it's just for us.
Yeah. There's a lot of. We've watched a lot of good shows so far.
Yeah.
I can't see them on this list because I feel it's the ones that we've already done out of it. Because I don't want to think about that until we get to the end of the year.
No, that's a good point, actually. And the ones that stick in your mind, I guess, are going to be the ones that.
Exactly. If I'm constantly thinking about it, then I'll just be like, oh no, the last thing I watched was the best.
Yeah.
But
Do you know
we've
what's
got some strong shows.
Roundabout.
Are you looking forward to next week?
Oh, I
You're looking forward to the next one.
Cannot fucking wait for the next one. So
I'm surprised that you haven't watched Ash vs. the New Evil Dead already.
Oh no, I've watched the first episode.
You might have to watch it again.
Oh, what a shame. Okay, so yeah, we're doing Ash vs.
See, but I've already seen the first episode of Van Helsing.
Yeah, so
Actually, I've seen the first 3.
Shut up! Stop showing off.
Stop showing off that you've watched 3 hours of television.
Some TV. So Ash vs Evil Dead and Van Helsing, and to put this in context, Evil Dead. I have an Evil Dead tattoo, a small one, and it's my one of my favorite horror films. Van Helsing, the Hugh Jackman movie, is the reason I started watching horror films, and the TV show is probably nothing like it. So that's gonna be fun.
I can't wait to hear what you say about Van Helsing.
Oh,
it's gonna be good.
It better be good.
I'm so excited.
Alright, so we'll see you next time on Zergo Island Podcast.
A quick translation, he said, we'll see you next time on the Co-Pilots podcast. Yep, I'm done.
Bye.